The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and today we're going to talk about business succession planning and specifically how to use buy-sell agreements to plan for an owner's retirement. A buy-sell agreement is an agreement between the owners of a business, usually a closely held corporation, LLC, or partnership, that plans for what will happen when one of the owners wants to leave the business or is required to leave the business. This might be due to death, disability, divorce, bankruptcy, or any number of reasons, but it might be due to the orderly desire for the retirement of an owner. And this is something that buy-sell agreements are great for because it allows everyone to plan for an orderly succession from one generation to the next, and allows certainty on both sides as to what will happen when one of the key players in a business wishes to retire. So a buy-sell agreement might answer the following questions. Will the retiring owner be required to sell his or her shares to the company as opposed to a third party? Alternatively, will the company or remaining owners have a right of first refusal on the shares of the retiring owner, or will they be required to purchase the shares of the retiring owner? How will the purchase price be valued? Where will the money for the purchase come from? How many years will the retiring owner be required to be active in the company before exercising any retirement options, or what benchmarks will he or she have to hit before exercising any options where the company is required to pay him or her for his or her shares in the company? And how much notice will the retiring owner have to give the remaining owners in order to exercise these options? So you can see that it allows for a real graceful transition where the retiring owner might be required to give multiple years of notice, so it's not a surprise, a situation where the remaining owners are required to come up with a large lump sum to buy out a retiring owner in order to avoid having the retiring owner sell his or her shares to a third party, and then the remaining owners are in a position where they don't really they don't know who they're going to be doing business with. They might be forced to do business with someone that they don't like. On the flip side, the retiring owner doesn't have any, in the absence of a buy-sell agreement, doesn't have any certainty as to what his or her retirement's going to look like and how it's going to be structured. They're just looking at putting their shares up on an open market and hoping that someone wants to buy their shares. So a buy-sell agreement is really great for both sides because it gives both sides certainty as to what's going to happen when someone wants to retire, and allows the process to be a lot more gradual. And we can see that when we talk about the ways that we can plan for where the money is going to come from, because that's the big thing. Everyone wants the company to buy the retiring owner's shares, and assuming the value is fair to both sides. But the big question is where is the company going to get the money without being detrimental to the company? Now, if you are a really strong company and the retiring owner maybe doesn't own a large portion of it, this can be really easy. This makes sense to do a lump sum payment of the shares. The company can either simply raise the capital from a cash account that they've kept on hand, or get a loan for the payment of the shares of the retiring owner. The retiring owner gets all of their money immediately, and that usually makes them pretty happy. The trick is that you really have to be a very strong company for this to work, because if you're otherwise, you've got one of a couple things happening. You've got a company that can really use the cash to reinvest in growth, holding it in a cash account and not using it efficiently to save for payment of one of the owners when they retire. So that's not optimal. Alternatively, if you're not going to keep the money on hand in some sort of semi-liquid account for that situation, you've got to get a loan, and your company might not be creditworthy at a time when one of its key players is retiring and leaving, and banks might not want to give you a loan. Even if they do want to give you a loan, you're going to be making payments on that loan at a time that the business is probably not in great shape because one of their key people is leaving, so your cash flow might be down, and at the same time you're going to be adding loan payments. So that's an ideal solution if you've got a strong company and the retiring owner is not going to really handicap the company in getting a loan or coming up with money or cash flow in the future. If you are maybe in a smaller company and there's only a few partners and a partner leaving is going to have a huge impact, then there's a couple other ways to do it. One is installment payments. So essentially the stock of the retiring owner will transfer immediately to the remaining owners and you might pay a lump sum for as a down payment on some of it, and the rest will be paid over the course of several years by a promissory note. And generally, this promissory note will be collateralized by the ownership of the company. So if the company defaults, then the owner can come and get his or her ownership back. And also, generally, there will be some interest accruing on this. So this is often very ideal for a retiring owner because it almost acts like a pension where you're going to get a larger sum over time over the course of your retirement. You're going to keep receiving essentially like a paycheck in these installment payments, and the interest allows that to be stretched out over a much longer time and a much larger total sum than you would get in a lump sum payment. Now, you don't get the money right away, but it is a good feature for retirement. It's good for the company because the company doesn't have to suddenly scramble to come up with a large capital lump sum to pay to the retiring owner, and they can pay gradually over time. The danger is that the retiring owner is no longer involved in the management of the company, so he or she doesn't have certainty that the company is going to be run well enough to meet this obligation. So you might end up with turning over control to the remaining owners, and if they default on the loan and there's nothing left in the company to pay for the loan, then the retiring owner might be really out of luck. So it's risky in that sense. It's used best when there's serious collateral that you can use to hold up the promissory note, and this might be the personal assets of the other owners. So if the other owners run the business into the ground, you might have them personally guarantee this promissory note, and that way you can go after their personal assets if they fail to come through. Other than that, though, it's a really good solution because it gets the retiring owner out of the management of the business, which usually everybody wants, and it allows them to have a long-term plan for the payment of their for payment of the interest on this note and the principal of the note over the course of their retirement. It also gives them a lot of certainty because you can basically, if you have a stable enough company, you can plan ahead knowing exactly what these payments are going to be, so you can plan for your retirement in advance. The third option is the gradual transfer of stock. It's similar to the installment option, except that the stock isn't transferred all at once. The stock is transferred slowly over the course of many years sometimes from the retiring owner to the other owners, and in exchange payment is made as the stock transfers happen. So similarly to an installment note, you're going to get a long-term payment to the retiring owner. The company is not going to have to come up suddenly with a lump sum. The difference, though, is that the owner is retaining control over the company during the course of his or her retirement here. So you can still have the owner involved in making decisions. You've got a little bit of safety, and it removes the risk of the remaining owners running the company into the ground. But sometimes this isn't what owners want. Sometimes the remaining owners want to be free from the old retiring owners. I don't mean old in an age sense, but the owner that's been around for a while trying to keep their fingers in all the pies. And the retiring owner may not want to still be involved in the management of the business or have any obligations to be involved in the business. So that's a downside. This is really useful when you want to guarantee that the business will be run well if you're a retiring owner, or if you are transferring it, say, to your children or the next generation. You can do this slowly over time. Sometimes the payments can be a reduction of salary if that person's also employed in managing the business. So for very specific companies, this is a great option because it allows you to transfer a business to your children without your children having to come up with a giant lump sum in order to buy that business off of you. And it depends on your situation, whether this or an installment payment or some combination of either one of those with a lump sum down payment makes the most sense. As you can see, you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can be as creative as you want with a succession plan for your business. So it's really important to talk to an attorney and someone who knows what they're doing to kind of work through all the options, answer questions that you might have, and come up with a plan that's very, very specific to your set of needs as a group of owners. And the sooner you do this, the better, because if you let succession planning wait until someone already wants to retire, you're not all coming from the same negotiating point. You want to do it way before anybody is ready to even think about retiring. It works the best when you don't know which of the owners is going to be the one exercising the retirement option, so you come up with something fair to all concerned. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below this post at learn-about-law.com or below the video on our YouTube station. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch your videos. If you need some help, give us a call at 630-324-6666. That's 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations in several areas of law, and we have many geographical locations for your convenience. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thanks so much for watching our video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Click the subscribe button for new videos every week, and download and review us on iTunes. Visit learn-about-law.com for other legal-related articles and videos. Visit our business podcast and video blog, seizeyourbusiness.com, and visit Making Real Estate Fun for real estate videos and podcasts. Call us at 630-324-6666 for a free consultation.